Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the September 30th special meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have roll call?
Yes, council members Asadrian. Here. Brotman.
Here.
Garpetian.
Here.
Kazakian. Here. Mayor Najarian.
Here, may we have your report?
The agenda for Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, special public meeting of the City Council was posted on September 26th, 2025 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And what is the first item?
The first item is Community Services and Parks regarding recession of award of contract for operation of tennis courts at Glorieta Park. One, motion rescinding the City Council's approval of June 10, 2025 to award a 5-year contract for operation of the tennis courts at Glorieta Park with the option to renew on a year-to-year basis thereafter for up to 5 additional years to Vigen Khanlarian, and authorizing for the city manager to execute the contract and approving the award of a 5-year contract for operation of the tennis courts at Glorieta Park with the option to renew on a year-to-year basis thereafter for up to 5 additional years to Hard 8 Inc. on terms more particularly described in the report of the Director of Community Services and Parks dated June 10th, 2025, and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract. 2, motion rescinding the City Council's approval of June 10th, 2025 to award a 5-year contract for operation of the tennis courts at Glorieta Park with the option to renew on a year-to-year basis thereafter for up to 5 additional years to Viken Khanlarian, and authorize for the city manager to execute the contract and directing staff to revise the request for proposals for operation of tennis courts at Glorieta Park, and upon City Council approval thereof, reissued the RFP.
Thank you. I would ask members of the public, if it's your intention to request to speak on this item, that you submit your cards at this point to the city clerk so we can determine how much time I can allot to each speaker. Mr. Galani.
Sorry. Mayor Najarian, member City Council, the item before you is regarding the council's prior approval to award a contract for operation of the tennis courts at Glorieta Park to Vigen Khanlarian. Last December, the Community Service and Parks Department initiated an RFP process that identified 3 eligible and qualified proposers, the highest scoring of which was Hard 8 Incorporated. On June 10th of this year, the council passed a motion approving an award to Mr. Khanlarian and rejecting all other proposals. Staff had anticipated finalizing the terms of a new contract with Mr. Khanlarian and executing it by September 1st. On August 14, Hard 8 filed a lawsuit alleging that the council's award to Mr. Khanlarian was unlawful and seeking a court order to invalidate it. Hard 8 agreed to stay the lawsuit pending council consideration of whether to instead approve an award to Hard 8 or reissue the RFP. Staff recommends that the council rescind its prior award to Mr. Khanlarian and either approve an award to Hard 8 for the reasons set forth in the June 10th report, or direct staff to revise the RFP and reissue it pending council's approval of the revised RFP itself. If council has feedback or input on the terms of the RFP, staff will take the feedback, revise the RFP, and bring it back to council for review and approval prior to reissuance. Community Service and Parks Director, Mr. Bulanikian, and his staff, of course, City Attorney, Mr. Garcia, and his staff are available if you have any questions.
Okay, very good. Madam Clerk, how many speakers do we have? We have 9. Okay, last call for speakers to submit your card.
Caller? Any callers?
Any callers? One caller.
Oh, okay.
It's included in your number. All right, would my colleagues like to hear from the public first?
I would. That's fine.
All right, I understand that Mr. Khanlarian has a representative and that also someone from Hard 8 may be present, so I'm going to give each of those parties 6 minutes to speak. So let's call the Kanlarian-related representative or speaker.
My name is Armin Montevosian. I'm an attorney that Coach Vegan has retained to represent him in this matter as well as the litigation matter before the court.
Did you submit a card? Okay, so let's do that
Okay.
first.
Armand Matevosian Esquire is the first speaker, and he has 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Before I begin,
Followed by the Hard Eight group for 6 minutes as well. Everyone else will get 3 minutes.
Okay.
before I begin, I do have a presentation that I believe is supposed to be on right here.
Please stop his time.
Yeah, we'll reset your clock.
And is there a way to fast jump to a particular slide by number? I don't know if this will allow me to do that.
Did you reset his time to 6 minutes?
Move forward and backwards. Give me 1 sec. I just want to have the slide up that I need to begin. If I give you a specific slide number, you can't just jump to that? Sure, give me 1 second, please. Can you please go to slide 169?
All right. Ready to go? 6 minutes?
Yes, I am. May I begin?
Yes.
Good afternoon, honorable councilmen and councilwomen. My name is Armand Montevosian. I am an attorney that has been retained by Coach Vegan to represent him in this matter, as well as with respect to the ongoing litigation. And so, as I've been sitting here, I've been hearing members of the public talking amongst themselves in terms of why are we even here right now? Because the city voted and already approved the motion to award the contract to Coach Vegan. Well, the answer for that is very simple. It's the litigation that Hard Eight's initiated, but I'm here in my 12 years of experience specializing in this type of law to assure this council that it faces zero liability when it comes to that lawsuit. And it's just very plain and simple as to why. This slide up here is the subject request for proposal, reservation of rights that the city had put forth. And it says there clear as day that the city reserves its right to reject any proposal or all proposals at its sole discretion. And would you be able to go to slide, give me 1 second, please. It's slide 29, please. This is Hard Eight's CEO, Ms. Pratt's sworn declaration under the penalty of perjury, and it says here clear as day that what she's asking the court to do is to comply with its own published RFP procedures. That is an admission by Hard Eight's CEO under the penalty of perjury that what she's requiring is for the city to comply with its procedures, which is what it did. The reservation of rights authorizes this city to reject any proposal, which is what it did. And now, if you could please turn to slide 3. California law specifically authorized this council to do that rejection. In a 1967 decision that still remains good law, it said clear as day that the city has the right to reject any proposal in its sole discretion, so long as that's included in the language of the RFP. And if you look in the middle there, where it says V, those are the terms of the request for proposal from that lawsuit. And it says, the agency shall reserve the right to reject any and all proposals in whole or in part. If you look just below that, the language from this city's request proposal is identical. When it best serves the city's interest, the city may do any one or more of the following: reject any proposal or all proposals in its sole discretion. So this council acted well within its authority to reject Hardate's proposal. Now, the difference is that this city already has a contract with Coach Vigen, which is enforceable, and that also has an attorney fee provision, which means that if the city now rescinds its contract with Coach Vigen, then my marching orders are to proceed with litigation on his behalf to seek an ex parte temporary restraining order to enjoin Hardate from moving into the tennis courts pending the litigation. In other words, Madam, if you could please go to slide 210, which is the existing contract that Coach Vigen has with the city right now, because it's been renewed as of September 1, and Coach Vigen is in possession of the tennis courts, as well as with regard to the council's decision on June 10. And so this is the contract that the city currently has with Coach Vigen. And if you slide down to slide it's 240. So in other words, the city already has a contract with Coach Vigen, which on June 10, this city renewed for a 5-year term beginning on September 1. The city acted within its authority to reject Hardate, which is done. And this contract right here in subsection 40.2 means that if this gets litigated, the city will also be responsible for Coach Vigen's attorney fees in that litigation. So on one hand, you have Hardate, which has absolutely there's no liability against Hardate. The law is clear as day. This city council exercised its discretion and rejected the proposal. In other words, Hardate assumed the risk. They knew what they were getting themselves into. They can't now go to the courts or ask this council to breach its contract with Coach Vigen. That's precluded as a matter of law. And so what we're here today to ask is for this council to adopt the alternative recommendation by city staff, which is to reject the motion for rescission. There's just no basis for it. The city's request for proposal, clear as day, states that the city reserved its right to reject any proposal. The city on June 10th exercised that right. Hardate admits it in its court filings under oath. The contract with Coach Vigen is valid. It's in effect beginning as of September 1. And Coach Vigen is there right now. He's in possession of the premises, which means that if this gets litigated with respect to Coach Vigen against the city, in my 12, 13 years of specializing in this type of law, I'm certain that a court will issue an injunction in favor of Coach Vigen to protect his right to remain there for the 5-year period while it gets litigated. If the council has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer anything that may be on the council's mind.
Thank you. Any questions at this time, Council? Okay, let's go to the next card from Hardate.
Yeah, Jenny Farrell.
And you have 6 minutes.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name's Jenny Farrell. I do not represent Hard 8, but I am an attorney licensed in the state of California, 280142. I have, for the past 7 years, run a nonprofit organization based in Glendale, Mental Health Advocacy Services, and I'm the incoming executive director for the League of Women Voters of California. I'm also a student with Fit Fun Tennis.
Let me pause you for just a moment. Is there a representative from Heart 8?
So I just talked to Jessica, and she asked me to step in since her attorney is not present, and I'm an attorney.
Okay, so Jessica is the party for Heart 8.
Jessica's
She's the principal.
yeah, she's the owner.
Okay, then we will let you speak on behalf of Heart 8.
Okay.
If I didn't mess up your flow,
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
let's give, let's just continue. Sorry about that. I
Okay,
just
no,
wanted to
no
make sure
worries
we
at all.
got the right
And I
one.
know it's unclear. Yes, I'm not her attorney. I'm just here, honestly, to give public comment as a student, but I don't think they were anticipating an attorney being here, so they said, hey, Jenny, go up there. So I'm just here to help. So I completely disagree with the analysis that was just presented to you. The court has already ruled in favor of Hard 8, which, by the way, I know as Fit Fun Tennis. I don't know their corporate, the way they've organized themselves. I know Jessica, who's a mom of kids at the same school that my kids go to. And, so I disagree that the council faces no potential legal liability or political liability. You did put out a, request for proposals to see if there's a tennis program out there that could provide a great service to the community. I myself, as someone who's run a nonprofit organization, have responded to many requests for proposals from government entities. I know how much time and effort you put into filling that out and putting your best foot forward. And I know that Jessica spent a lot of time on that. She is passionate about tennis. She, got the good score. So her program should have been awarded that. My understanding, I was not here at the council meeting where this happened, but my understanding is that there was an acknowledgement in this room that were you to go against what the score was and how that transparent process happened, you may face some legal or political liability, and that's exactly what's happened, unfortunately. So again, I disagree with the analysis presented by my colleague, the attorney for the coach. I do think you'll continue to face that legal liability because you put out all of, how's the score going to be done in the RFP. I think the staff is recommending you to, reconsider that and really honor that initial RFP process. I think that is the right move for the council to take is, again, not just legally, but politically, and in terms of what's best for the community. And so I'll just go into my, that's my lawyer hat on, my tennis student hat on. I just want to say I've been a student with Fit Fun Tennis for a few years now. It's an awesome program. It may not be reflected in the turnout here today. There may be more folks here from the coaches program. That's because a lot of the folks in our program are working parents. They can't show up at a 1 p.m. Meeting. I've met students who are in their 20s, 30s, all the way up through their 60s and 70s. I've made professional connections with other community members. I met people who, their kids go to school at Glendale schools with my kids. We've started a Google sheet where we, meet up for tennis outside of our class. My tennis game has gotten better, which has been great. The coaches at Fit Fun Tennis are awesome. They really care and they really tailor the tennis program to each student. I just think it's a really wonderful program, and I think that's probably why they scored so well, because Jessica is such a passionate tennis player herself. And I know that, it's hard to change sometimes. I don't know anything about the program that's existed at Glorieta. I have no doubt that it's been a wonderful program. But sometimes it's, good to open it up for new folks to maybe consider running a program. In the world of tennis, we had a lot of the same folks playing tennis for a long time, and then the Williams sisters came along. And Jessica actually played Venus and Serena in the junior circuit. So she knows something about, being a new woman of color coming into a space that has been dominated traditionally by, one group, and kind of breaking open that sport for a new community. And I think it's been a really, really beautiful program that she's put on. Jessica, you're awesome. I love your classes. She Like if it's rainy, she lets us know, hey, the courts are wet, we got to do a makeup the next day. It's super transparent, it's super professional. Registration is super easy. And yeah, I think it's probably added a couple years to my life because like I'm one of those people who would not go exercise just on my own. Like tell me to run a lap and I'd be like, it's like climbing Mount Everest for me. But like actually getting out there on the court and exercising, my doctors really appreciate it. So thank you, Jessica, for that. Just looking to see if there's any other notes I wanted to say. Yeah, I just think it's been a really great, point of connectivity for our community. I think sports in general is that. My understanding again of what's happened is that, this, woman of color has applied, has put forward a really great application, scored really well, has a great program to offer to the community. She's not some crazy big corporation. She's a mom who runs a great tennis program. I think it'd be a great addition to the city. Even just for 5 years, and then you can evaluate the program and see how it's going. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? Is let different programs, have their chance, evaluate, see how many people got engaged, see the results it has, and then you can put it out for RFP again and see if there's a different coach or program that would do a good job going forward. So I strongly encourage, in closing, I strongly encourage you all to approve the motion to rescind. I personally would encourage you to just award the contract to Fit Fun Tennis. I don't know if you need to go through, another RFP again, but feel free to do that. And again, just looking through my notes here. Oh, that's time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let me first just speak to Mr. Garcia. There were, in those two presentations, there were some factual representations and some legal opinions given. Could you address those at the end of the cycle of public comment?
We will. I was planning to do that, yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Casal.
I mean, the question I was going to ask the speaker, and I don't know if she wants to approach the podium to answer it, is that, we covered the legal issue, and obviously I think somehow what we're discussing today is around that aspect of it, that the legal impacts of the council decision. But you also mentioned not the council for, I'm sorry, the representative for Heart 8, but then there was a mention about the political liabilities. I'm trying to clarify and understand what the political liabilities are.
Would you like her to?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that people want to know that government processes are transparent, that if they're a business owner, if they're running a tennis program or they're applying for a license or whatever it is, that whatever the process is that's been presented to the public, hey, you got to do this, application, which is what Jessica did. She spent, again, literally hundreds of hours, completing every part of that application, that they know that work is going to be honored, and if there's a scoring system and they come out on top, that's going to be honored. Like I said, I'm the incoming executive director for the League of Women Voters of California. We do all the Vote 411, all the educational materials for every single race that happens in the state of California, every school board, city council, all the ballot measures, everything. So, I think that to me is what I'm kind of alluding to, is just that people want to know that this council, these elected officials are, honoring processes that have been put out there to the public.
Did you have an opportunity to watch the meeting where we made the determination that brought us here?
I did not.
Okay, because, there's this, I think, insinuation that somehow, we aren't doing this in public, but the whole reason we're here is because the discussion was very public. Most of us, all of us were very public into how we came to the conclusion that we did. So I don't think that any of it is being done in a way to instill distrust. In fact, it was done in the most transparent and I think open way. We looked at everything and we had open and clear discussion as to why we felt one was more preferred than the other. So just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
No need to, unless there's a specific question. The next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Christine Sauceda.
My name is Christine Salcida. I'm a Glendale resident for 40 years. I've been a United States Tennis Association member for 35. I play competitively. I've played at Shoal. I've played at all the courts around. So losing Glorietta to Heartache would be a huge problem. Heartache already has a contract, I believe, with 3 courts. They've got Nibley, they have Montrose, and they have Oakview. And they are taking away 50% of the available free public courts from the tax-paying residents. That's prime time, mornings and evenings. On one example, Montrose Park, Montrose Park is available from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. And who's there to play tennis on the hottest hours of the day? It's not available for working tax-paying adults. It's not available for seniors who want to play for their health, longevity, i.e. one day when I was there at Montrose Park, Heartache kicked off 4 seniors off of 1 court. And once you take 50% of the courts away, it's not available for drop-ins. I am disappointed and amazed that Heartache filed these 2 lawsuits because they already have 50% of those 3 courts. And they're putting a financial hardship on Vegan and the City of Council. I would like to see that Glorietta tennis courts remain awarded to Vegan. He runs the courts professionally. I did witness some of the tennis teachers at Heartache when they were teaching next door, and I don't think they have a whole lot of credentials, and maybe that's something you might want to put on your RFP. What kind of professionals are in fact taking over the courts and teaching members of our community? And I thank you for your time, and I hope you consider keeping Vegan as the keeping him with the contract at Glorietta Park. Thank you.
I have a question.
Mr. Garbettian?
Uh,
Ma'am?
Ma'am,
Yes,
I have a question.
sure.
You said Heartache has 3 fields. Which fields
3
are there?
courts.
Courts.
They have Montrose, Nibley, and Oakview. There's 2 courts on each of those facilities. And if you need to see what they're doing with the community, you can just gauge by what's happening and how many
Montrose,
people.
Nibley, and what was the last one?
Oakview.
They're not at Oakview.
Okay. Do they have, they have Montrose? Montrose and Nibley.
Okay.
We
Thank you.
can only go.
And it's only part of the courts, it's not the whole.
All right, no, folks. Everything has to be on the record, and let's move to the next speaker.
Next speaker is Joseph Choi. Following Joseph is Rolinda Biesmeyer.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm speaking on behalf of Fit Fun Tennis. I am the on-court director. I've been a Glendale native for probably, I want to say 25 plus years. I actually want to speak on also I'll touch up on the fact that I was a student of Vegan as well when I was a youth. He did a great job, and he was instrumental in my tennis upbringing. And that was over probably 20 years ago. And it gave me the opportunity to carry on a tradition of coaching with respect, and I brought that culture within Fit Fun Tennis. I don't have lawyer jargon to present to the court, but I just want to talk about our program and how we have 2 courts, Montrose and Nibley, and we utilize maybe 2 days out of those out of the week on 1 court as well. And we've always been, it's clear in our mission statement, and when Jessica presented to me back in 2022, since the inauguration of our program, we've always been community-based. It's always been for the community, and that's what I prided myself on, and I think that's what Jessica prided herself on as well. I'm very proud of the instructors that we do have. Now, we may not have the credentials, but we have respect for the students and the community that we serve. And I myself was one of those youth as well back in the day. And tennis has brought me opportunities that I otherwise wouldn't have had. So vegan was also instrumental in that as well. But our program, we originally wanted to make it accessible for a very big population. And tennis, I understand, it's a very expensive sport, and it's not always the most accessible. I grew up understanding that. I would break strings every other week. That adds up to $40, $80 on top of lessons. And the feedback that we get from our participants is that, adult and youth, is that there's no other program where it's as affordable and as accessible as our program. And that's not just Glendale. It's people that come from Pasadena. It's people that come from Burbank. So I've always understood and respected that because my parents worked very hard to get me tennis lessons, and it was very costly. So if we can do that as a group, allow that opportunity for youth, families, adults who also may be struggling, it would be a great opportunity for the city to also create a program that's revolves around the community. Because ultimately we are a community-based program, and I implore the council members to reconsider that and take into consideration that we're here for the community, first and foremost. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Relinda Biesmeyer. Following Relinda is Chris Pratt and Bonnie Shoemaker.
Members of the City Council, hello. My name's Relinda Biesmeyer, a 50-year resident of Glendale, and I have been fighting for our courts for the last 30 years. When we had Central Park, that you closed and promised to put new courts on the building, the senior citizen building. You did not do that. And that Fremont courts we play on, it'll be reopening on the 11th of October. We're really looking forward to that. But I play at Glorieta, and Fagan has been marvelous to us seniors. It's just so important, and he does city youth programs that they are all welcome. He has teaching facilities, and it's low cost. And that's what we need. The idea of paying $20 an hour to a corporation to play tennis is ridiculous, because that means it's $40 if you play 2 hours. And so Glendale needs more public courts, and we have been fighting for this for years. The community is expanding. The city is very busy, very crowded, but we still need tennis to keep us healthy as seniors and as residents of Glendale. And so I appreciate the thought that you will reconsider Vegan as his company to work with for Glendale. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Chris Pratt. Following Chris is Bonnie Shoemaker and Artak Harutyunyan.
Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the council, Chris Pratt, Fit Fun Tennis. You all run this city. Budgets, potholes, parks, and permits, 1,000 choices a day. I don't envy that load. Heck, y'all are busy. Nobody can sit through every interview. Nobody can read those 100-page proposals. That's why we built a process. We got panels and experts and scoring and impartial tools so that busy citizens can trust a fair system. We made those RFP rules to keep favoritism out of public life, to make sure the city's voice is the people's voice. But when y'all toss that aside, when you put a finger on the scale, that ain't small. That tells people their rules don't matter. Their trust doesn't matter. Well, I believe it does matter. Jessica Roland Pratt's Armenian grandfather came to this country with nothing in his pocket but a belief in the American dream. Her mother fled Puerto Rico, escaping unimaginable cruelty. She grew up on those crack courts in East Hollywood, and she fought for court time, and she fought for a chance, and she clawed her way to a full-ride tennis scholarship. To American honor, all American honors, and to represent this country on the international stage. She did what we tell our children to do. She worked, and she earned, and she gave back. She built Fit Fun Tennis to give other kids the same lifeline. Now, that's the American dream: success, hard work, opportunity. Now, y'all know those independent panels did their job. The record on Glorieta is clear, and that recommendation was made, just one, by a lot. And then it was undone, not by merit, not by score, but by preference. That ain't process, that's power. That's the mask corruption wears when it thinks no one is watching. That should chill every person in this room. Let's be honest, the only reason I stand here today is because the California state judge compelled this council to follow the law. That's not leadership, that's a breach of trust. When you move the goalposts, when you rewrite the rules because you like one name better than another, you put this city on a slippery slope. Tyranny doesn't happen overnight. It creeps, it seeps, it's quiet favors and little exceptions. It's a finger on the scale just this once. That's how faith in government dies. Not with a revolution, but with a shrug, with a wink, with a quiet vote in the back room. But here's the thing, power built on injustice is fragile. The need for control is desperate because it's so unnatural. Authority is brittle. Well, oppression ain't nothing but fear wearing a mask, and every time someone says, no, the rules do matter, that mask slips. If y'all return this RFP and you change their criteria to tilt the field toward a less qualified preferred candidate again, you won't just break faith with Fit Fun Tennis. You'll be breaking faith with all of Glendale. You'll be teaching our kids that hard work means nothing, that fairness means nothing. The only thing that matters is power. But I don't believe that's who you are. I don't believe that's who we are. Y'all have great power, but we know that comes with great responsibility. I humbly request you draw the line here. Say no to favoritism. Say yes to fairness. Say yes to the rules. Show Glendale who we are. Thank you.
You?
The next speaker is Bonnie Shoemaker.
Questions?
Apparently not.
Bonnie Shoemaker, 71 years old, retired scientist from Caltech and a commercial pilot, an avid tennis player. Not a great tennis player, but I'm getting there. I've sent you some emails, so you probably recognize the name, and I've detailed analyses from my physics training of exactly the times and exactly what was in the RFP and what Hard 8 is now doing with public courts. Bottom line being that they stand to make about $10,000 a week profit from their fun fitness classes that are driving away about 1 in 3 public players just from Montrose and Nibley parks during prime time playing hours. And you have that on paper from me and by email. But what I'd like to do right now in 3 minutes is remind you all about how public tennis work. And here are the Glendale rules for the public tennis courts that are posted at every Glendale public court. And in fact, they're almost identical to the rules posted at every public tennis court all over the world. Because public tennis courts really work. They typically have no management presence, although the community might lock the court at night. They work by having these rules posted like these, and the rules are generally the same everywhere. They are intended to ensure that tennis can be played safely on the courts, and they are intended that the tennis courts will be available for playing tennis, not for anything else, on a first-come, first-served basis for all of the public. So the most important rule, which is usually the first rule, and in Glendale's case, it's the first 4 rules, prohibits exclusive use of the courts when other people are waiting to play. This is a really serious requirement. Prolonged means if you have 4 people playing tennis doubles and there are people waiting to play, you've got 45 minutes before you have to get off. If you're 2 people playing singles, you have 30 minutes, and then you have to give the court to the next members of the public who are coming to play. This honor system works amazingly well all over the place. It works for 11 courts at several facilities in Los Angeles. The people really do respect it. But the people get really angry when they go for their precious Saturday morning after a hard weeks of work to go play tennis with their friends, and they get kicked off by 8:30 in the morning because some for-profit company has already reserved the right to teach fitness classes, whose only similarity to serious tennis instruction is the use of rackets and balls. I'd like to go on a little longer, but I see I've already run out. If there was another person who wanted to stand with me, might I be able to get another 2 minutes?
What's our rule? Remind me, Mr. City Attorney. You can give a card.
One speaker can cede their time to another speaker as long as both speakers are in the chambers and have signed it.
And in this case, as long as the card has already been submitted.
That's
because
correct.
I closed the.
So I think I'm out of luck.
So how many speakers do we have left, ma'am?
We have 1 speaker, Artak Artunyan.
So unless he's ready to give you your time, is
All right.
that his decision?
I would like to
Okay,
remind
so
you,
we heard, just for the record, we heard from Mr. Hartunian in the audience that he will give his time to Ms. Schumacher.
I might point out too that Artek is one of the professionally USPTA certified instructors at Glorieta,
Okay, you
And-
have 3 minutes.
and he represented Armenia in the prestigious International Davis Cup tournaments. He knows how to play. Okay, I wanted to just say that at facilities where you have 3 or more courts, this whole public system needs help. So you typically have a management presence there. And the primary purpose of that management is to coordinate reservations, so the public, again, has full access to play. And they also provide some serious individual tennis instruction if the community has demanded that. I want to contrast this with a private club or even a large public facility who's intended to bring in revenue to make a profit. To maximize their profits, the club has to advertise and market themselves. They have to provide a wide range of services in order to attract plenty of playing customers. So think about tennis group classes for fun, and maybe these classes have fitness equipment, or maybe they have a bar. There has to be a daily operational plan that packs in a lot of different activities to attract lots of paying customers frequently and regularly. Wait a minute, does that sound familiar? Those are the criteria that you wrote in your RFP. Those criteria have nothing to do with how public tennis courts work. I suggest that winning proposal in terms of those criteria, go apply for a job at a private club. They gave the council exactly what a private club wants, but it has nothing to do with what the public wants on our public tennis courts. So please, consider that. And we really appreciate that Vegan manages Glorieta the way public courts should be managed. All the spectrum of users gets to play there. We get serious professional instruction. And the costs are kept low, which is the spirit of free public tennis courts. I'm not sure how he even makes a living, let alone a profit, but we really appreciate it. And by the way, he's built some real tennis players, which takes a decade or more to learn to be a good tennis player. He's been state junior champions, city junior champions. He has staff like Artek teaching. I mean, it's no small thing, and it takes a long time to play tennis well. So when the public can't afford a private club and an instructor at a tennis academy for $200 an hour, they are so lucky to have Vegan Kanlarian and Glorieta to go to. 3 minutes early. Thank you.
3 seconds. Thank you.
We have one caller.
Let's hear the caller.
The caller is Joan McCardle. Joan, you're on air. You have 3 minutes.
Hi. So I am speaking from the perspective of a parent of a student who's been enrolled in the tennis program for 18 months with Fit Tennis, otherwise known as Hard 8. And I just want to say how much she has benefited from taking tennis. Our doctor actually recommended that she enroll in the program. She had a health issue, and that health issue has actually cleared up from her participating in the program at Nibley Park. What I want to say, I am actually an educator, and what I see as an educator is there are all these vendors out there. I can't speak about this other coach who does sound like he's done some great work as well, but I can speak about this program, and it is excellent quality. All educational programs are not equal. It's my opinion that this is a high-quality program, and I think it's taught by passionate and caring instructors. And the other thing I appreciate, which my daughter noticed, she said, it's really great that the instructors are diverse. That's not something you always see in the tennis world. That's something the tennis world is trying to change. It's typically, historically, been a white sport. And I think that this vendor is doing something to change that by having coaches from diverse backgrounds. That's a big check for me. It's affordable. It's much more affordable than anything else we looked at. My understanding is that these independent panels that reviewed the proposals, that they found that this one scored the highest. So as an outsider that doesn't really understand the process, that mystifies me. I don't understand why the program that scores the highest isn't awarded the contract. And obviously the lawyer did speak a little on that today. And I understand the Californian state judge informed the city to follow the law, but there seems to be some legal ramifications going on that I don't understand fully. Now, look, the lawyer came up, gave us some legalese, talking about sole discretion. Look, as a voter and as a buyer of leisure services, I also exercise my sole discretion, and I also speak to my friends and my neighbours in my community when I vote and when I choose which programme to enrol my children in. I'm an educator, I'm not a lawyer. What I know and what I recognise is a high-quality educational programme, and when I experience it firsthand over 18 months, I know that's what my daughter's experiencing. I fully support Fit Fun Tennis being awarded the contract, and they have my support. I'm grateful for what my daughter's got out of the programme. I would like to not see politics and legalese get in the way of preventing children, young people and adults accessing all the mental and physical benefits that people are getting out of this provider, teaching tennis at an affordable rate
Thank you,
for the
Joan.
community.
You're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is all.
That concludes the public speakers on this item. Mr. Garcia, can you, let me just ask you for your comments.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Let me just briefly address, I guess, some of the points, and then if council has questions, either I or Aaron Israel can address those questions. So first, I just want to address the couple comments were made about a court order. The city and Hard 8 filed a lawsuit, served on the city. The city and Hard 8 signed what's called a stipulation, where we agreed to basically hold it in abeyance until the council could consider what it's doing today, which is to have this particular meeting and decide whether to rescind the awards. That stipulation is signed by a court, so to the extent there's a court order, I guess so, but we were not ordered by the court to bring this by. We agreed to do so. Without getting into our private opinion that we've provided to you regarding legal risk of the lawsuit, just from the last meeting when this discussion happened in June, we did express our recommendation, agreeing with CSP staff that you should either award the contract to Hard 8 or reissue the RFP. And so that's still our recommendation. In terms of the citation by council of the existing contract between Mr. Conlarian and the city, that was a 2015 contract whose term is expired and is now basically operating on a month-to-month. So that contract is not the contract that was awarded in conjunction with the RFP that we're talking about. That contract, as noted by Mr. Galani in his introductory remarks, has not been approved, specifically because we got the lawsuit prior to its signature. So that particular contract that's in place now is just a month-to-month. The city has the full right to terminate it once it makes its decision to go in a different direction. And then lastly, I would just note a couple of comments were made about Mr. Conlarian have possession of the property. The terms of the agreement are it's a license agreement and an operations agreement to operate the facility. So there's no title or possession that's vested in Mr. Conlarian with respect to the Gloria tennis courts. So that's kind of the comments I heard that I wanted to make sure I addressed, but if council members have any questions, happy to answer them.
Does the attorney's fee provision carry over in the month-to-month lease?
My view is that if we breached that contract, that month-to-month contract, then yeah, I would. But by reissuing an RFP or awarding this RFP to Hard 8, we wouldn't be in violation of that agreement. What you're being asked to do is not to breach an agreement with Mr. Conlarian or terminate an agreement with Mr. Conlarian for the long-term operation of the courts, because that contract has not been signed.
Mr. Garpetian.
Right. But the contract the existing contract that's month to month hasn't been canceled yet, right? No one voted to cancel that contract.
That's correct. It's currently, and it's a month to month, and then obviously that contract would be terminated as a matter of law if the council if the city either, for example, signed a contract with Mr. Kanlarian or signed a contract with another party. So if we signed with another party, obviously we'd be providing notice to Mr. Kanlarian that contract would be terminating with 30 days notice.
So we put a pause on our decision that we made here to award a new contract because we were served with a lawsuit.
Correct.
Okay. I have a couple of questions for Mr. Bolanikian, our Parks Department's director.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ms. Schumacher or Schumacher?
Schumacher, I believe.
Schumacher, sorry. No. She mentioned that Hard 8 has courts at Montrose and Nibley Park.
Yes, Mayor and adjourning members of the council, Hard 8, they operate tennis classes through our contract class program. Our contract class program is a city program that we've had the last 40 years. So basically, the city collects the revenue from our classes, and they get a percentage split through each registration that they get. And they do use Nibley Park, I believe, 24 hours a week, and Montrose Park, 15 hours a week, depending on the season.
And can you tell me how many students are enrolled in those programs?
I believe it's around 2,200 or 2,300 students per year.
2,200 students
Per year,
per year?
yes. They have about 150 to 160 classes per year, and they've been operating since 2022.
And each class has like
10 to 12,
10 to 12?
yes.
So 150 classes, you said how many hours? 15 hours?
15 at one park and 24 at another park.
So
I believe.
15 and 24 is 40, let's say, times 52 is 2,000 hours, give and take. 150 classes.
Hi, Gabrielle
It's not that
Golia.
many hours.
I
Okay.
just want to clarify, we have about 2,200 spaces available for students that we offer per year through our contract class program with Hard 8. Each year, there are approximately 1,000 students that actually enroll in those spaces. So some of the classes are canceled due to low enrollment or merged into others. I just wanted to clarify that number since I know you're doing math with it.
Right, so it's 1,000 individuals or
Correct.
students a year.
Correct. Approximately. It ebbs and flows a little bit based on the year, but that is the average.
Do they stay for the entire year? Or they come in for 6 months and they leave and someone else comes in and that?
Each session is between 6 to 8 weeks. So some students may be a recurring student that is duplicated each session, and then some may come and go. I don't have the data on how many are staying annually.
How long did we have this contract with Hard 8?
We initially started this contract in May of 2022.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want.
Other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Brotman?
Yeah, and by the way, I wasn't here, I guess, at the meeting when this decision was made, so I apologize. This might have come up then, but did our RFP take into account the cost to the public to take these classes? Did we look at that as part of our consideration?
Refer to.
And I don't, I really don't know how the economics work on this thing, how much revenue like we take and how much they get, but I have heard this point being made that, Coach Vegan is providing these classes at a lower cost to the public, and I was wondering, is that something that we built into the RFP?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Councilman, we did ask them to provide us with what their cost for the entry into the tennis courts would be. We didn't specifically ask for class rates because those can vary so much based on the size of the class, the duration of the class, both in minutes and in weeks. So we don't have the class cost, but for the rental rates for the courts, Mr. Konlarian had submitted that he would charge between $8 to $10 for rental rates, and then Hard 8 submitted $12 for rental rates per hour. So they were a little bit different, but not strikingly different.
Okay, and these are for the times when they are providing classes, or is this all the time?
This would be for a customer to come in and rent a court in order to play on their own, not for classes.
I see. Okay. I see. Okay, so when there are no classes happening, again, I apologize, I don't really know much about this. When there are no classes happening, I just want to go in and use the court with a friend. So I just pay that, whatever, 8 to 10? I don't know if is it 8, is it 10?
I believe that he was charging $8 per hour for regular rates, $10 per hour for an instructor to come in and teach their own class.
I see. So 8 to 10 and versus 12. Okay. Now, how about the number of hours that those courts are available to the public when they're not giving classes? Because I heard from one or two speakers here that somehow they feel that with Hard 8, there are fewer hours available for just public use. Is that accurate? And was that also something that did we identify that? Did we put that in the RFP that we wanted a certain number of hours available for the public? Because I don't see why they would be different, why they should be different.
We did ask them to submit example schedules and the total number of hours that they would be open to the public versus open for their classes, their more heavily revenue-generating classes. And Mr. Konlarian had submitted that he would be open to the public 84 hours per week would be available for just drop-in tennis. And Hard 8 submitted 79 hours per week for open hours to the public. So again, they were not strikingly different, a little bit off just because of the schedules that they are both creating for it, but there was not a glaring difference in the number of hours that would be available to the public for either vendor.
Okay. But we could also establish that. We could say we want the courts available so many hours for the public in contract. Could we do that? I mean, regardless of who we end up with, I mean, that's something that we could establish so that we're guaranteeing that there's a certain amount of availability for the public just to drop in, right?
Ideally, you put that in the RFP, so there's a minimum requirement. But yeah, that's certainly something you can negotiate too as part of the contract.
And we didn't put that in the RFP?
What was in the RFP was that we expected that there would be open hours to the public, as well as some free hours to the public, not just open, but time that our community could play for free on a court without even having to pay to make sure that we're meeting the needs of everybody. We didn't set a minimum number of hours, but we did express the expectation that there would be open hours and free hours.
Okay, so if we were to do another RFP, we could make that a hard number.
We could.
Good, okay. And okay. I think that's all I was confused about. Thanks.
Councilmember Asaturian?
Sure. I don't know who needs to answer this question, but if we are talking about a new RFP going out, the parties have already submitted proposals which have outlined pricing, which have outlined, public use time and so forth. If you do go out with a new RFP, I mean, you already know, the other party knows what the other one had already submitted. So how does that work?
Councilor Satrin, you're correct. So those proposals were made public once the process was completed pursuant to the California Public Records Act and the case law interpreting that we were required to disclose those. That information will be public, and individuals who propose on a subsequent RFP will have it to utilize to decide how to propose their terms. I imagine, even though all those records are public, I imagine, anybody who's interested in proposing will have a keen eye towards being as competitive as possible. But
So there's nothing within a new RFP that we can say, like,
well, we don't disclose the proposals before, if you issue a new RFP and proposals are made, those don't get made public until the council completes the process and makes an award. So, but the previous proposals, sure, they're public and they're part of the record, and,
how does that a fair process?
well, everybody has an opportunity to see what everybody else submitted. So that's to the extent that, all the proposers got to see all the other proposers, there is some level of fairness there.
Okay. I am going to just add one tiny comment based on some of the comments that I heard, but I spoke a little bit to it during the last time this item was here, but I think one of my biggest issues was how things were evaluated, including part of the conversation that I had asked staff was their evaluation included Coach Vigen's use of technology and so forth, which they, in our briefing, had said he's not willing to do. And then when asked, he said he was willing to do. And so there was a lot of, and I don't know if it's a language barrier issue, but I would expect that if we are going to move forward with a new RFP, that certain processes are put in place to ensure that there's clarity in the evaluation, and that regardless of language ability, we have concrete answers to the questions we're seeking when we're evaluating candidates.
Any other comments?
No, well, it's unfortunate that we're here right now, and it's unfortunate that some of the comments have revolved around this idea of somehow this is a deterioration of public trust, that the decision that was made, which was, I believe, very clearly articulated at the council meeting where we made the decision that I understand wasn't the desired outcome of one party, is somehow an assault on our democracy, and this is how government goes down a slippery slope. It's very, very clear looking at, my reasoning was grounded in logic, information, statistics, numbers, some of which has been touched upon here. So I just want to articulate that, and I don't want to go further into it. But I think that, we need to, if we need to start this process again, to make people feel that it's, I don't think it was unfair. I do believe that, I think council.
Order in the court?
Listen, since this individual decided to engage in theatrics, which I don't condone, it's obviously, when we look at costs, and I don't know why it wasn't in the report, because I went back to the June 10th meeting to look at the slides, it was very clearly presented that the individual that I voted to grant, or the organization, was someone that was actually charging less, had more number of hours of operation available, and later also had more revenue anticipated than the individual that staff recommended. So I don't know where the council's miscommunication is with trust, if we're looking out for the interest of the residents who are using this court and other people who are using this court. So with all due respect, sir, I'll be happy to hang out and have a conversation with you afterwards in a civil way, but I don't appreciate the antics to try and gain attention. If you're upset, I understand that, but this is a council chamber. It's a place where we have rules, and we're both adults. We can have a conversation afterwards. You're more than free to reach out to me beforehand to have a conversation and state your case. I see you pointing and I see you talking, and I'm going to remind you again, this is a council chamber. We're trying to set an example for future generations, so let's do it appropriately. Agreed? No, thank you. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, no, not at this point. And I just want to say that I don't think that our decision last month or 2 months ago was for lack of articulation. I think council veered off the, out of the lane in which we were supposed to judge and to evaluate this proposal. There's a set number of criteria. That's what they were scored on. According to the pleadings by Hard 8, council went outside of those criteria to make their decision. That's why we have the lawsuit. That's why council has paused. That's why our city attorney has recommended that we reissue the RFP, get a fresh start. I'm not sure how fresh it is. It's like playing a game of poker. Everyone's cards are on the table. Maybe you can, move that 3 of a kind into a straight or a flush or whatever, but the cards are out. The only thing I would like to say is that it does perhaps cause some, I guess, caution if the proposals are materially changed and in any way contradict earlier proposals in a factual matter. I presume that can be held against the proposer. If I say one thing and then I come back on the new RFP and say another thing, do I have 20 years experience or do I have 30 years experience?
Sure.
Do I have this type of plan or that? But,
Right. But
in terms of factual matters, factual matters, not prospective planning. So anyway, regardless of that, I think, in my opinion, I think it's council's best move to, the issue before us is to rescind the award to Mr. Kanlarian and issue a new RFP. Should council not want to do that, there's a judge signed up. He's got the case before him. He can make the decision legally and let us know if what we did was proper or not. Yes.
What kind of precedent does this set? I mean, we go through this all the time. We have RFPs all the time. I, for one, joined my colleagues saying that this was a very transparent process, and I'm actually extremely disappointed that we're spending council time and the allegations that were made against this council. And so, okay, so, I mean, I stand by my decision and the reasons why I voted for Coach Vigen. What precedent does this set for future RFPs? And so what I'm not looking for is now anybody that's unhappy with the decision we made takes us to court and says, well, I want you to do it again, and I'm going to resubmit a new plan.
Councilman Osatrin, I guess the best way I can answer that is, the issue is that's been raised in the court proceeding is whether or not the city followed the terms of its own RFP, and to the extent that it's only precedent setting if it happens again, right? And so I think our goal will be if the council directs us to with CSP to work on a new RFP to bring back to you to make sure that it contains terms that the council believes are fair and appropriate, and then sees them up front, because as was noted, the RFP was issued at the direction of with staff and the Parks Commission. So you'll have the opportunity in this case to weigh in on the criteria before it gets issued, and then the expectation would be that this would not be precedent setting because you will have seen those beforehand.
And which one would cost us less money? Because we're in a budget crisis. I care about every penny that we're spending. So attorney's fees, your staff time, all of that. What if you had to calculate which route?
Well, frankly, the option that's the cheapest for the city would be to award to Hard 8. The next, in terms of cost, most likely, to rescind the award and do a new RFP. And then the third, most expensive option would most likely be to, not rescind the award and have to address this matter in court.
I'm happy to move to.
I haven't made any comments yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Scarpage.
Rules, Mr. Mayor. We all have to go once before the others go twice or 3 times. Anyways, I'm really disappointed that we are here today. I think awarding a contract by force, I'm not going to do that. We didn't award. I didn't award the contract to Mr. Kanarian to show power or favoritism or race or gender or anything like that. I awarded the contract to him because there's a program in place for 3 decades and generations of, people who love to play tennis. They were part of it. Now I'm being told, okay, let's put that aside and award a contract to a new, with all due respect, I'm sure that Hard 8 is a professional company. I don't know them. I don't know their operations. But we're being told that put this aside, something that's been working for 3 decades and it's a packed program, and bring a new one in the hopes of finding out what's going to happen, what new and exciting things. If that is the case, they're already in Montrose and Nibley. Why don't we give them an opportunity over there to maybe manage one of those fields and see how does it work for a year? And everybody will be happy. Why are we trying to fight each other all the time and take the contract away from not only Mr. Kanarian, from the community? The fact that they're here today, they're all working parents as well. I see them in this dais. It's not that the others had work to do or they had families and they couldn't attend. They are here. So my job was to look at the contract that was before us. I did not know any of the terms and conditions of the RFP. The contract came to us, and there were 4 options for us. And I took the one that says council can reject the recommendation of staff and recommend something else. And that's what I did. Also, as it was mentioned, I don't know, I want to get an answer for that as well, that if our RFP has a clause in there that council can reject all the contracts or all the proposals and do something else, would that hold water in court or not? If staff recommendation is written in concrete and we have nothing, we can't just vote other than the recommendations that's in the staff report, why are we here? I mean, so then let the staff take the responsibility and award the contract. If I have to vote for it, I don't want to vote by force. We all have choices. And the choice was for a program that works, for a program that embraced the community. And we saw the members of the community who were here last time and this time, all walks of lives. It's not one segment versus another. Everybody is in this program. And I just want to mention all of this because this picture is being painted that there's favoritism. What is it to us to give the contract to Mr. Kanarian or Hard 8? I want a program that works. I want a program that the community is happy and they're enrolling. What will happen to all these players that are enrolled in this program today if the contract is awarded to Hard 8? They're not going to go there. They're not going to. How many of you will enroll in that program if this is canceled? We're just putting everyone on the street.
I'd like to vote soon.
Well, you all had your.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm just side discussion with Mr.
Well, that's not right either.
No, I'm sorry. We've
And even if you go to a new RFP, no matter what you do, we will end up in court again, saying, "Oh, you just wrote the RFP to favor one side or the other." What I'm saying today is here. There are 2 things. If we don't issue a new RFP, is the court going to decide if we need to issue an RFP or not?
Councilman Garpetin, so if the litigation were to proceed, the court would, in the first instance, decide whether or not the city violated the terms of its RFP in awarding the contract to Mr. Kanlarian, and then could issue a remedy either requiring us to issue a new RFP, because that was one of the prayers for relief by the petitioner, or the court could order us to award the contract directly to Heart 8. Those are the two requests for relief made by Heart 8, and the court would have the jurisdiction if it found the city acted in excess of its legal authority. Those are the two remedies that the court could order.
What about the clause that we have in our RFP that city can reject all proposals?
Without getting into too much legal discussion, Councilmember Garpetian, certainly the city always has the discretion to reject all proposals, and that's what that's referenced to. For example, if it wanted to reject all proposals because it wants to start over, or if it wanted to reject any proposal that doesn't meet the minimum qualifications. I will note that as we stated on June 10th, when the council heard this the first time, there is also additional law besides law cited by counsel for Mr. Kanlarian, that once you issue an RFP, you're required to follow those terms of it. And so that's the basis for the lawsuit and some of the basis for the issues that we raised at the last meeting.
Okay. Can we just exercise the option of having Heart 8 maybe running one of those tennis courts in Montrose or Nibley?
Not today. I mean, the recommendations before you are either you can, again, rescind an award to Heart 8, rescind and direct us to bring you back an RFP, or take no action.
Well, my preference will be to pause this motion here today, pause this decision today, and see if we can award a contract to them for Montrose or Nibley, and see how does it work, and keep Mr. Kanarian in Gloria.
Can't do that.
Right, and my recommendation, you can certainly rescind the award and direct us to bring back a new RFP, and then if you want to direct us, staff, to look at other options related to other facilities, they can do that as part of the motion, but we can't, my recommendation, my strong recommendation would be not to just direct it related to a particular facility, not related to Glorieta.
Councilmember Asatarian?
I think Glorieta is what's in front of us today, and I actually think, wouldn't it be illegal for us to be talking about giving a contract to someone without an RFP process? So, okay.
So we have a couple motions before us, if everyone's had a chance to speak.
Mayor, if I may, we didn't hear if council has any desire to alter or change or adjust any of the selection criteria in the RFP, or you want us to come back with that item?
Personally speaking, I think since this issue and the appropriateness of the RFP has been raised, we should not on the fly create the criteria for the RFP. I think we should deliberately give it to staff, have staff present it to us, and we can make those decisions at that time. I just, on the fly, I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't know if there's a different opinion.
I think that's.
I do think that some of the things that were mentioned on this dais should be taken into consideration when staff is drafting it, in order for us to bring back, including, time for public use, costs. All of those things should be things that we should be taking into consideration. They are public tennis courts.
I think that, if I may, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think the comments that made by council members on June 10th, as well as those that made today, staff has heard them and will deliberate on, if you go in the direction of directing us to bring back an RFP, we'll deliberate on that and bring that back to you and try to present you some options for you to think about.
Right. That'll be our opportunity to weigh in on the scoring and the categories, et cetera.
I'm unhappily willing to move.
So it'd be motion 2, rescinding the agreement and to reissue the RFP.
Well, giving direction to staff to bring back the.
That's part of the motion.
Yes, yeah.
with those
Okay.
comments on the R. Is there a second to that?
Well, to move on from this process, I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Council members Asadrian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Abstain.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to our next item. If you could please read that into the record.
Yes. Item 2 is Public Works regarding dispensing with competitive bidding and authorizing an amendment to the agreement for furniture consultation design, procurement, and installation services for grant-funded furniture procurement for Central
You keep it
Library.
down as you exit, please. We still have business to attend.
1, resolution dispensing with competitive bidding and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an amendment to the agreement for furniture consultation, design, procurement, and installation services with J.K. Micklin, Inc., doing business as Yamada 800007, increasing the contract amount by $400,000 and extending the duration to June 30th, 2026.
Okay, let's pause for just a moment to let people leave. Thank you. Mr. Golanian.
Yes, Mayor Najarian, member of City Council, the Library Arts and Culture Department has secured a grant funding from California State Library for various items, including new furniture for the main library floor to better complement the recent improvements that were constructed elsewhere in the facility. The Public Works Department oversees multiple contracts citywide for citywide furniture procurements, including a not-to-exceed contract with Yamada that has a remaining balance of approximately $147,000. Using Yamada, who specializes in furniture configuration for libraries, will allow the city to complete these grant-funded improvements on time and improve Central Library's sustainability, security, flexibility, and usability. The total cost for this final stage of the grant-approved work is approximately $500,000. Therefore, the proposed amendment will increase the contract amount by $400,000, which was approved as part of the fiscal year 25-26 budget, and extend the contract duration by 6 months to June 30th of 2026. Ms. Pelayo Lozada, our Library Arts and Culture Director, is available if you have any questions, as well as Mr. Hernandez, whose department will be overseeing this project.
Are there any requests to speak?
No speaker cards on this item.
Okay. Questions from council or motion?
Well, my understanding is that this is being paid partially with grants, correct?
Totally, yes, in
It is?
full.
All right.
Yeah, 400.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Asadrian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. That concludes the business of the special meeting. With a motion to adjourn, we are adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
And I call, we'll move into the regular meeting agenda. Call to order the September 30th meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have roll call?
Yes, council members Asadrian,
Here.
Brotman,
Here.
Karpetian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here. Will you please read the closed session agenda?
Yes, closed session item A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, 2 cases brought by Central BWB LLC. B, anticipated litigation, one potential case. C, conference with real property negotiators regarding property location 309 Orange Street. D, conference with real property negotiators, property location 1000 North Brand Boulevard.
B is off calendar.
No, B's on calendar.
B is on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, Mr. Mayor, we anticipate, we may report on item 1B.
Okay. We recess to closed session.
Okay.